All right, guys, in this video, I'm going to show you how a simple trend line was able to predict a massive sell-off short trade on Tesla stock today. Let's do it. All right, we're talking about Tesla. All right, the number one stock of the year. This stock is up, what, like 1,000% this year. Probably the most on fire momentum stock I've ever seen in my life. And God help anyone that has been short this stock for any length of time, right? This stock has just crushed, destroyed some of the smartest players on Wall Street. I'm talking hedge funds, institutions, large, big money investors, right? I read an article the other day about a guy, I think his name was Jim Chanos or something. You guys know who that is? That moron has been shorting Tesla since 2016. 4 years. Gotten obliterated, right? Anyway, so what I'm going to cover here in this video, guys, is how to properly, look for a short, which means how to identify when to go short, and of course, how to look for a low risk setup. So let's get right into it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to transform the chart, right? What you're looking at on the screen is a bogus BS chart, your indicator chart, your candlesticks, etc. Don't know how anybody can make any decisions on this chart. It's a complete pile of clutter and nonsense, if you ask me. Anyway, with one click of your mouse, you take this chart right here and you make it look like this. Okay? Where the price action has been organized in a very neat and clean fashion. But that's not enough, right? I promised you in this video, we're going to take a look at the top 2 methods on how to identify and look for what I consider, all right, this is my opinion, what I consider a low risk setup, all right? So the 2 things, guys, that you have to identify whenever you plan to short a stock or even buy a stock is, what is your bias? And more importantly, what's the reason for your bias? And when I say bias, I mean, what direction do you want to play, right? Are you playing it from the long side or are you playing it from the short side? Okay. And of course, why is that? For example, in this video, I'm going to show you a potential short setup, but I'm also going to show you why I decided to look for a short setup. Okay. And number 2, guys, before we get into that, I'm going to also show you how to look for a low risk setup within the context of your trading bias. All right, so let's get to it. There was some interesting news that leaked yesterday in the electric vehicle space. Okay, a small, tiny company by the name of Apple, you might have heard of them, came out with an article, or at least some kind of news leak, that they are also working on their version of an electric car. I guess they're going to call it an iCar, as if having iPhones and iPads and iWatches is not enough for them. They also want to get into the electric vehicle car space. Okay, and check out what happened to Tesla stock when that news leaked. Right, look at this. Tesla just plunged into the market close. That's what this gray vertical line represents, by the way, guys. This is the market close from the previous session, which is also represents the start of the next session. Okay, so this thing plunged into the market close, right? So when I am looking at these 2 metrics, meaning what is my trading bias and why did I make that decision, right? Well, now you have your answer, right? Number 1, I want to play it to the short side in this instance, right? Because there's a major competitor coming into the space and potentially taking market share away from Tesla, right? So I've identified my bias. I want to potentially play it from the short side, and I've explained why that is, okay? The fundamentals is a pretty significant issue, okay? Now, number 2, guys, all right, number 1 is not enough. We also have to look for what? A low risk setup within the context of your trading bias. So how do you do that? Well, watch this. I'm going to right click here in the chart. I'm going to go to my list and I'm going to find something here called automated trendline shorts. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see that. Hope it's visible to you. All right. I'm going to now add it to my Tesla chart. I'm going to hit this box here that says draw trend lines. All right. And let's take a look and see what happens. All right. So the first thing that you see what happens is it starts drawing for you blue dots. What do those blue dots mean? Okay. Those blue dots on your chart represent pivot points. Now, what do you do with them? How do they help you identify a low risk setup? Okay. I'm going to show you. What you're looking for is a sequence of 2 rising dots. That's it. Okay? When you see those 2 rising dots, what you want to try to do is connect those 2 dots with a straight line. And what you're hoping for and what you're praying for is that the price smashes the trend line like this to the downside. Make sense? So this is how to potentially look for a nice low risk setup within the context of your trading bias. Does that make sense, guys? All right. So watch this. I'm going to zoom in right at the start of the session. Look at this. Can you see this? Dot number 1 and dot number 2. Isn't that interesting? Connect both of them with the trend line. Again, isn't that interesting? Because the trend line breaks right here. This is your entry, your potential entry to go short. Your stop loss gets placed 1 or 2 ticks above the most recent swing high. That's it. Okay, and now you're sitting, you're hoping, you're praying that your stop doesn't get hit, and this trade takes off for a big winner. And you don't know for sure, right? All you can do is make an honest attempt and hope that the market rewards you. Now check this out. Look at this monster trade. I mean, I can't even fit it all in. The thing just got obliterated today, right? So, I mean, that's really it. You know, I don't have time to show people 50 million squiggly lines and indicators and MACD. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? One price action chart, one simple trend line, okay, that took place at the start of the session, and Tesla just took an absolute dump today. And one other interesting thing, okay, if you missed the first short of the session, look at this. Another trend line right there. Another trend line right there. Another trend line right there. Isn't that interesting how you got 3 additional bites at the apple? Let's count them out. 1, 2, 3, right? 3 additional bites at the apple to go short if you missed the first potential short. So this pattern sequence is actually really popular whenever there's a strong trending move underway. So never underestimate, guys, the power of trend lines. Never underestimate the value that a trend line can bring to the table within the context of, your trading bias. And of course, guys, never ever underestimate the raw and pure power of trading price action. Okay, so that'll do it for today's video recap on Tesla stock. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next trade.